Hi everyone, welcome to Lucky's podcast. This is official second episode, and I'm so happy and pleased to welcome my dear friend Ivan. We were discussing about me starting a podcast for a while, and I was like, Ivan, that's it. It's either you or Ogi who's gonna be first. So welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Marko. Thank you so much for the invitation. And like I told you before, I'm telling you now, I'm telling you in the future, huge support for this kind of projects. Really, I think something what is very important for our industry, especially for Middle East, for Dubai. And I think we spoke that so many times. It's to and also for our region, for Serbia, because we want to show also.
I didn't thought about that like that, but thank you, man. Thank you.
And we together want to raise the bar, and you know how I appreciate you first like a person and like a professional, and how much I like your critical opinion since day one.
Okay, stop. Everybody will think that I'm bringing just my friends, so that
actually you're my guest now. No, joking.
I like that quote from you. Let's raise the bar together. That's one of the. I didn't want to steal that from you. I left that to you because you're saying that every time when you're lecturing something or talking to somebody, and I like it, and it's kind of an obligation to all of us who are working we're not in a health department, but we are dealing with health. We're not medical stuff, but we're there, almost there.
Yes.
So before you introduce us a little bit about your past and what led you to Dubai, what brought you to Dubai, I wanted to say something about the subject we're gonna talk today. It's initial assessment, reassessments, and basic things around it, how you can use it to program your trainings, and why it's so important. It's kind of a good choice because it goes along with the subject that Augie was speaking about last time, and that's testing and assessing your heart rate and using that as a training tool. So before we go to the main subject, tell us something about yourself. What led you to Dubai?
Okay, so Dubai, I think it's in the middle of the story. So the first thing, we are both from the same college, Faculty of Sports and Physical Education, and that's something we start. It's like a starting point for our careers. What brought me in Dubai? I've just said a few stuff before because I start to be, let's say, more curious about fitness and more like a personal training and specific training in general during my studies. And one of the trigger points was, of course, people around me. So I had quite a good examples around me to see in which direction I want to go with my college. So it was not my priority to be like a sports teacher and to work in the schools. So I was always trying to be something what is more challenging in sense of people's health, injuries, because even myself, I was like a professional athlete with so many injuries. So I was also, achieving that goal to learn about myself as well.
It's like you're telling my story
about my mistakes, and all that, or maybe my coach mistakes as well in the past. I mean, like in sense of not coaching, but I mean exercises, periodization, these kind of things. So college was like starting point, and after that, and during my college, I opened my own actually I was shareholder of the one fitness studio where I was developing.
Fancy to say it, shareholder.
Yes, this is a very popular word here, and and then I was literally developing my own practice, my own methods, my own beliefs. Of course, I was looking others, but I was trying, like we talk in this podcast, I was trying to take everything from everyone, and just to choose my own method and put my stamp on that. So that was working very well, and I was really happy in Serbia and doing my work. Really, I was focused on so many things, not only trainings, also I was doing like educations of my clients and the stuff as well, hikings and different kind of things. So trying to go very wide. But again, in the college, there is one thing what was very triggering me, and that's one of our professors from analytics diagnostics.
Okay.
When he mentioned one thing about
Professor Dopsai.
Yes, Professor Dopsai. Yes, about mentioning assessment and testing of our water polo national team. And we know we are one of the best in the world. And he said
the
that
best.
the best, yes, of course. And he mentioned one example that they did specific testing of them and of VO2 max on the treadmill instead of doing in the pool. So which is for me like a quite triggering. I was like, yeah, this is like actually logical. You know, why they water polo players, you know, who are like a swimming, that why they should do VO2 max test that's related to the subject what you talked with Ogi last time.
Yeah.
Why they should do it like on treadmill instead of the pool? But of course, there's a different things, you know, why I didn't have a chance to do that. That's not related more with the sport. So that's one of the trigger points where I was thinking, okay, actually this assessment,
how much the assessment
is very important,
yeah,
and do it in a specific way for specific population, for non-athletes, for athletes, pain management as well. So that in that case, I started to like developing my own assessment, and I was lucky to do like a literally like a around 4 years of the research on my clients. And I did like the thesis in my college, like a final exam. Yeah, so final exam, and actually the judges, actually professors, 3 professors, they said, oh, this is amazing subject to like represent that international scientific conference in Belgrade. I was like, okay, that's like that's big huge, stuff, yeah. Big shot, yeah. So accept that. I did like a sort of like a research. I don't want to say like a scientific work, but let's more research. I represent that, and the subject is like I can just mention it's like influence on specific effects of specific training and on motor skills and body composition in females aged from 18 to 50. So that's quite wide research. Yeah. So we were doing like a different kind of motor skills test and body composition test. It was like 2 different groups, control and experimental group. So we're comparing this kind of results and with the similar goals. So it was quite easy to see the changes, of course, in some kind of controlled environment as much as possible, because of course, like, you know, our job is like sometimes 1 hour, 1 hour and a half per day of treating that person or group of the person, and then what they're doing the rest of the day, we don't know that. Yeah. So that was something what was triggering me, and after that I reached something in Serbia what was for me like peak, and I felt, yeah, my head is like bouncing on the wall, and I reached the roof in my standards. So then I accept one offer from Dubai for Fitness First to come here, and I did there 1 year. It was very, very good, very great experience.
That could be one of the subjects, sorry for interruption, that could be one of the subjects. What are the main channels to come into Dubai? Because Dubai has, and UAE in general has a big and huge fitness market. I was not ready. Similar story that you're telling now. It was I had a similar story as well, and I was not ready. I did not got what I expected in Dubai. Yeah. I'm not saying it was negative, but when I came here, it's a jungle. Yeah. It's a jungle, man.
Yes, exactly. That's so I was trying to reach something that was more international and maybe more recognized. So I think it's more related also with my ambitions, like a person, to like spread my word internationally and my philosophy and everything. Try to apply to see maybe it will be recognized, in some other place. So Dubai gave me that chance, and I'm using that chance now very good. And after 1 year in Fitness First, I again met Alex, my colleague and friend. So we start to talk about something what is more, advanced in terms of training, and idea was Be Strong. And ideas were born, and one of the first things what we are setting standards for, and that's like, I think that's a major thing for today's subject, is initial assessment. Because initial assessment, it's actually starting point for everything what we're doing in our job, especially people who are dealing with personal training.
Yeah. So
that's the starting point, and something what we cannot literally start with the training. If we start with the training, we are actually putting ourselves first, and people like clients in a big risk for injury and any kind of even some kind of worse scenario. So simple example why I think that, if you go to see the doctor and you say, okay, I have a headache, and doctor say, okay, let me check that. He will do assessment for you. He will check different things, check your temperature, check your lungs, everything. He will check your breathing, are you coughing and all that. He will treat you what he assess you. But he will not treat you because you told him that. So the same thing about the client. If client come to you, I want to lose the weight, or I want to be faster and all that, and you do assessment and you realize there's so many different things compared with his goal, what he or she came, and then you're just wondering, wait, should I listen client, or I should listen myself, or I need to have like objective measures?
Oh man, don't get there. Don't go there.
Yeah, no,
don't
I'm
go
just
there.
saying, I'm just saying. So, simple thing, we're living in the entire time of Corona. What is PCR test? It's sort of assessment, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're positive or negative. Of course, this is quite extreme, but this is why I'm trying to explain people why assessment is very, very important and crucial.
Can we just give now a general definition of what is assessment actually, just in short words? Because Augie was last time talking about the specific tests, and those tests can be a determination of some kind of endurance, doesn't matter which one. Can you just in couple of words describe what is assessment actually in general?
Let's say, to simplify, assessment is sort of evaluation and testing of the skills, or like any kind of abilities of the person which should be tested, evaluated. So if that is client or team or group of the people, depends. So I said evaluation and testing because evaluation is the part of the assessment which is also mandatory, and he's going through different methods, like a questionnaire, specific and general questionnaires related with the activity, sport, or type of the training. And testing, it's actually with it's more like a practical thing, what we can see. Yeah, there's different assessment methods as well. So like written oral questions. There's the observation method. There's the skills method. Like observation skills. So you can check. There's a case study. So you can do like a different kind of things with assessment, but you need to choose exactly for what you really need.
Why I ask you to simplify things, because you already said everything. When you say it like that, evaluation and testing, basically, the people can think that with that, if you have a tool that is right, you have a perfect assessment. But there, in my opinion, there is none. There is no perfect assessment. So what we are trying to do is minimize the mistakes with that. We're trying to approach that person individually as much as you can, even if that is not 100% possible. So what I wanted to get from you is to just explain to everyone, yeah, we are assessing people. It's very important, but there's so many different data that you can use, that you can draw from certain tests, and so on and so on. So tell us something about that approach. Like, okay, you have an assessment, but it's not perfect. You have a test, but it's not perfect. There's always something missing. And on top of that, can you just say what kind of tests are you using in your practice?
That's top secret.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking. No, I've just explained. So in general, for example, if you're treating like a general population and with sedentary lifestyle, so definitely we choose the tests which are suiting to them. So I will not go for like some kind of agility test with them, like a T-test or like a zigzag test, depends what you're doing.
That's exactly what
I will not go for like a reaction test with like any kind of equipment, or I'm not going for like a speed test. So definitely focus on things what they need. So let's keep the part of evaluation of let's say like a paperwork. If you go like with the skills tests and observation, what you will look? You will look the movements. You will look the range of the motions. You will look the angles. You will look like how they're behaving in like a basic exercises. So for example, I'll just give you like this is my personal opinion. So one of the best assessment tests, it's like a secret. So now I will now relieve that. So the one with the best, for example, for a general population is like, for example, overhead squat test. You have it as a part of FMS.
But there's actually a lot of tests that were taken that from FMS or designed it a little bit differently. Overhead squat is a massive applicable to everything.
Yeah, so to everything, even for athletes. So like amazing. For example, this kind of test is quite universal. You can use it for everyone. But that's one part of the FMS. But my personal opinion, now from my experience, not all FMS tests are for me practical, and I'm not finding them very useful for my practice.
This is something that is only coaches and trainers who understand FMS and those kind of tests understand, but doesn't matter. Let's stick to that a little bit. Can you now? This is interesting for me. Can you now? You said that not all of tests are useful. Can you now say which one are you're not using, or you don't think that they are so useful, and why?
From
in
FMS,
yeah.
In FMS, let's say like a rotatory stability. That's something what you already can see in the hurdle step test. That's something what I'm not using a lot. It's fine to see it in some kind of like a compensations, like a external hip rotation, like how obliques are reacting in that. But again, it's something what I don't like to use, but I'm using because of the specific populations. But let's say shoulder mobility test, for me it's still very good when you're going for like for external internal rotation. That's still like working like very well. Inline lunge test, I'm finding that also good, but not in every case. For example, I'm trying to correlate this one when I see, for example, lack of ankle mobility in people in overhead squat. Sometimes people when squat unilaterally, actually doing the split squat, they're not lifting the heel at all. So then you're wondering, wait, what should I look? Bilaterally or unilateral? We talk about that before.
We talk about it a lot.
This kind of stuff. So again, like I said in the beginning, for me the best test from FMS is overhead squat. The other one, I can adjust them because there's not only FMS, there's a different type of the assessments as well. For example, what we also using is mat assessment, which is like amazing. For example, in mat assessment, you can just notice, for example, do the test of the dorsiflexion. And from that test, you can realize exactly, in which amount person has a risk for injury of the knee or has a history of knee injury. So even measuring the angles, it's really 100% almost like accurate about details.
But then again, it's still a little bit. Oh, I dropped this. Okay. You know that saying, every Marko does it wrong. But again, mat assessment is a little bit more detailed than FMS, but it's still subjective.
About the numbers.
But it's still subjective. How come?
So to comparing from FMS and mat.
Compare it but compare it in general with everything.
So like
take
FMS,
the mat, just the mat assessment. It's why I think it's still a little bit subjective. Again, when you have a couple of clients and you do see those kind of differences, and let's say those reflection or whatever the test that you take from it, there are numbers. But again, that does not mean that it's that specific client will not be able to do a squat, for example.
No, that case, of course, yeah. But again, it depends.
And you have a squat. Sorry, and you have a squat, and you're planning to have a squat in a program.
Yeah. So in that case, it depends what you want to see. For example, let's say if client, for example, you have a surgery of ACL. Yeah, the right one. So, for example, even if I know that you can squat and you did very good squat in for example, overhead squats test with FMS, I would like to share your dorsiflexion for any case of the right leg, because I can measure exactly the numbers and how many degrees you're actually making in that position to see, wait, if you're able to do more than 10 to 12 centimeters to your knee pass over your toes, for example, I can say, okay, everything is fine with his knee. But if you're not able, I will know that you're compensating. Understand?
And then what would that mean for programming?
Again,
how would that reflect to choices of exercises, loads?
Yeah, then we're going like in actually pedestrian and actually designing of the training program.
Would you correct it?
Yes. For example, let's say the simple one. If you're not able to reach over this 10 to 12 centimeters, and I know definitely that's like
that's a standard. Let's say
that's standard by researchers. Yeah. So like
for that specific.
Yeah. So 10. No. I think in general, like if you're not able, even if you do like a dorsiflexion test against the wall, so distance between walls should be 10 to 12 centimeters. So that's like something already international standard.
That's what I said. Yeah.
So if I see that you're not able to do that, definitely I need to work on your ankle mobility. So maybe you're compensating with your hips, with the glutes. So you can just maybe shift the weights, for example, from the back squat to the front squat, or depends, what we can do in training. But again, what is your goal?
Yeah.
So if you come to me and say, look, I want to gain like a 10 kg of the muscle mass, and I found so many stuff, it's not working, you're compensating with so many things, I would tell you, okay, wait for that a little bit. We need to fix some other things to allow you to have even better results or better performance. We'll talk about athletes. So fixing the movements, we are fixing the performance, we are actually, improving the results of that client or clients.
You mentioned a few times you have amazing data. I don't know if you have it, the transition from your, from Be Strong assessment, because Be Strong has what's the right word? It has the same assessment protocol for every new client that basically comes in. A little bit more advanced for athletes, but that's something else. You had a data before. What is the transition? What is the application? What is the selling quote, the selling percent of?
So we have some details.
I know that you wanted to leave that for Ed, but
they're really extreme. So I was a little bit surprised. So I think in fitness world, that's the name of that term is like a conversion from potential client to the existing client. Yeah, it's more than 90%.
More than
when I say like more than 90%, I'm not tell you exactly because the numbers are really high. So like, but again, that's something when people come to our assessment, more than 90% they will join us, and that's something what is really like amazing and not so often seen in I think in the practice. But again, I think, and you know that as well, I think just it's not about assessment, it's not only about the tests, it's not about applying them and knowing them, it's about explaining them to the people.
Well, selling is
like
a tool
something
for itself.
It's like a selling material, because in the end,
but let's not go there.
Yeah, we're not going there. Yeah, we'll just finish with that. So again, I still think we are not selling anything except our knowledge and experience, and that's like a dot. There's no 3 dots, 1 dot, and that's it.
And the body a little bit.
That's going together with our work, you know. Unfortunately, it depends.
Yeah,
it depends, you know, what people want to like guess. So so that's something like about assessments. What kind of test, you know, we are using? We're trying to to look like from different angles. So like for example, using questionnaires, specific and general questionnaires. For example, like a fear of movement test or kinesiophobia test. It's like something amazing for people who are coming back after injuries or who do not have experience at all. So that's like really like a little bit scary to see the numbers what they're giving at the beginning. And for example,
I wanted to ask you a question about the kinesiophobia, because when I joined Be Strong, I didn't know about that test. I was first introduced with that test when I started working with you guys, and you know, reading the questions, first impression was like, really, like, come on. I wanna challenge the coaches, and I wanna ask the coaches to go and find that. I think it's they can find it easy on
not so
on
easy.
web.
Not so easy because this kind of
do you
stuff.
Do you wanna give the secret? Where can they find
no, they can download it. But it's very difficult because they usually, I think you need to pay for the download of this kind of document. Because,
okay, the test is called kinesiophobia. We don't wanna brand anyone, but it's actually during the testing and couple of months conducting those tests with that questionnaire, it's actually showing something that is real. And what is real is that people do have fear of movement, especially people who came back from injury or they join you for a recovery process. For me, it was like, okay.
Yeah, so this kind of
and the set of question is simple. It's stupid almost.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something what more it's related with something what is not visible in a person, but more what is inside of the person. So some informations are really like, you know, it's more like about my subjective opinion, but seeing people how their self-confidence is growing through physical activity. Social exposure, social skills, progressing in the work, you know, like developing like relationships in a much better way than before, and of course like a strength and in general like examples which I have with my clients, and it's something really what I'm so proud of. So put everything on the side, but these kind of things are really like can change the people's life. But related with that test, it's something what we steal that from the physio. So this is like what physio is doing. So I was thinking that's really applicable for our profession and our job as well.
Okay, let's stick to the physios, because what led me think about regarding to that test is that it actually led me more not to approach every single client with the same way. Everybody has its own thing, and I'm not saying that me or you or anybody or any coach can train everybody. You need to have something that you believe in and something that you present and something that you're good at. Everybody has its own preferences. That's fine. But looking at that specific kinesiophobia test and getting to know more people through it led me to open my standpoint a little bit wider and work on my skills to approach the clients and to modify the programs a little bit more differently, because not everybody needs, wants, and actually can handle the same stuff.
Exactly.
So I had a client who can squat, bench press, do a pull-up, everything, but step like box step or what's the step to the box?
Yeah.
No way.
In sense of what?
Fear.
Like, fear. Okay. So that can be.
And I'm talking about like the box of like half meter high.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of things that are like, something like what is, I think, more like a mentally challenged, people. But again, like, already, like all our job, it's based on regressions and progressions. So, if you give him like, like a smaller step, he will be able to do it until he develop, actually I reduce the fear of the stepping in the higher box. So that's something what is also like important, and you mentioned that, so our assessment will giving a starting point from where to start. So
where to start,
exactly. So that's like a starting point. So and then why insisting on that term initial assessment? Because every training is actually assessment. If you just think about it.
Oh, I wanted to talk that. I want to leave that for after, please. So can I get you back? I'm stopping you all the time. Yeah. I'm best at it. I'm sorry for that. But
no
you mentioned physios. For me, it's quite interesting, and I'm so excited to see what the world of sports science will bring us. But in last decade, especially last decade, we can see a lot of flirting between medical system, physios, and trainers. Assessments are actually one of the elements that we do use together. Yeah. Through last couple of years, I have taken so many tests that are actually originally. I don't know if it's right to call them physio tests, but they're more conducted in that kind of environment. Mm-hmm. For example, the test for hip flexion, the Thomas test, or I don't know, a lot of different assessing the hip models, the hip positions. A lot of tests that are assessing the spine posture. Mm. It's something that led me to complicate my life first, mm-hmm. but it led me to have a much better approach to the clients. What do you think? Where are we heading?
So you made amazing point about flirting. I like that word because it's exactly happening that. So I think now the physios are going more in strength conditioning, and like a strength conditioning coach is going like to more.
And
to
it's seeable on educations as well.
And yes,
NKT is one of the proofs.
Yes, exactly. So that's the thing. But again, I always think about myself. I'm more a strength conditioning, and I will never be the physio if I don't finish a physio school. I think we need to separate these two things, and flirting between it's fine. But what I found very like interesting, you mentioned at the beginning like this health system. Yes, we are definitely a health system. You cannot avoid us, even if you think, oh, he's the PT. Yes, there is different kind of PTs. There is PTs with the diploma. There is PTs with the university degree. Not judging about anyone, but we are in the system. We are dealing with the people health. Example, client, let's say, came after injury and he did ACL, for example. Definitely he need to go to see like a sports medicine doctor, sports medicine, like a surgeon.
That's the first step.
They will do the surgery if it's necessary. What is the next step?
Recovery.
It's physio, yeah? What is after physio? Strength and conditioning. If physio is able to do strength, amazing. I'm not saying that some physios can, some kids that they don't like. It doesn't matter. But we are third step or fourth. We can consider how that. So we need to be there to improve that recovery. How many clients you have? They came from the injury surgery. They skipped the physio and they came directly to you. That's also happening as well. Or they did just a few physio sessions. They came to us. Because it's easy, it's a PT, we'll go with the strength, it's going to be more interesting, blah, 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 different kind of reasons.
Yeah, we need to stick to the law, medical law there.
Exactly.
We don't want to encourage anyone to start with that practice. So everything that is coming from medical system has to be covered by a doctor. So if a doctor prescribes that it's fine to go to the gym. So you're good to go.
Yeah, we need to find our place in the system, and this is why we need to raise the bar. Sitting me and you here, we are defending also our actually protecting our college as well in Serbia.
Exactly.
We are here because of that as well.
Our practice as well.
Our practice as well. So we need to protect ourselves. We are in the health system where if it's the end, we are still in the system. They cannot skip us. So that's another maybe story, but yeah.
On so many educations that I've visited and a lot of educators and good trainers that I've heard, they all have their own stuff. If you go along the line, Mike Boyle, even our coaches in Serbia, Sale Petrovic, a great guy. If he ever listens to this, big hi to him. They tell you their story, and at the end of the story, most of them say, "I believe in this, and I encourage you to find your own thing." It was like, why I visited your education? Isn't this the story? So you hear that once, you hear that twice, you get the conclusion that, well, that's exactly what we are saying now. Everybody is different. Everybody has their individual approach, and you can apply different things to one problem. There's different paths to the same goal. Yeah. It's up to you to choose which one.
Exactly.
So regarding to that, you started to talk about it moments ago. For somebody who haven't had any proper education, haven't had any proper guidance in how to assess people, they can make their own assessments.
Yes.
I mean, I encourage everybody to do that. For example, a plank. Plank is, for me, I mean, it's a core exercise, but when you know what to look at in plank, you can see so many things. Like if the low back is falling down, okay, there's something not supporting down. There's something not good with the abdominal muscles. If the scapulas are going back and there's a hole in your T-spine, okay, there could be a vinge scapula. There could be something problematic with the shoulder stability.
Yeah.
Let's check on that. Let's see that. Can we strengthen a little bit? And so on and so on. So, I mean, even the tests that are like standardized tests, FMS. You have so much space for subjective, great subjective view on it.
Definitely, just one simple. Let's say like you can use like a simple exercise like inverted row, for example, just to check that like the ability of the client to pull. So if they're shrugging during the inverted row, you know there's a compensation already. They're not using like back muscles enough. So what we're dealing a lot in practice in general, and maybe that's the part where is maybe missing part in all assessments, is a pulling exercise assessment to see actually how clients and people are.
What do you mean like pulling?
So pulling so let's go back like one step back. We talk first about basic movements.
Are you talking about the strength, or are you talking about
even what? like a pattern, moving pattern? How many people you saw in the gym when they're like doing any kind of like a rowing, any kind of, they like to shrug and to compensate, and they're complaining about neck pain, even headache, they're paying like a shoulder pain, these kind of things. So we know that using these different kind of distraction methods for that, but still, the pattern of the movement, it's huge. And this is what we learn also in NKT as well, how muscle can be like facilitated and inhibited. So this is something like what is very related with our practice, because sometimes people doing exercise because we are telling them to do. Yeah, I
understand where you're heading, but that will be interesting to see how can that go on, because if you're assessing a pattern of strength exercise, a pull-up, for example, you're assessing a pull-up, how much time can somebody go up and down?
Okay.
I mean,
you're checking the strength.
You're checking the strength.
So let's go back and story now. I have a question, for example, for you now. So if a client come to you, like a sedentary life, mid-age, doesn't matter, like a male or female, will you go with like a 1RM testing or like a 5RM or something? Or you're just curious to check the movements to see if they're in kind of compensations or maybe like not regular movements, and they're complaining about back pain, this kind of stuff. So what you will do? So you will go for like only like a movements, or will go like a for strength as well?
I would call Mike Boyle in help, and I would say keep it simple, stupid. So, well, that's actually the point of this. I have my own testing protocol that I use that is not too complicated. I can make it more complicated, but then I would lose time. I would lose maybe I would lose attention of that client if I take him for assessment that takes too long. And at the end, I need that's my personal. This is me personal. I want to leave something for the process. I don't want to sell everything. So I can take every client and assess every muscle separately. Is it active? Is it not active? Is it strong? Is it not strong? Subjectively. And also I can use if I have a TMG or whatever. I mean, it's all
of course depends
possible.
Depends of your preferences.
But again, how much will that cost? How much can that client cover that? How much time can you separate from that? It's all details that need to be considered. So if I understood you right, you asking me what would I assess? Would I assess a strength or would I assess a quality of pattern?
I will tell you why I ask you that later.
If he's not an athlete, I would definitely assess a pattern and then regress it if I'm not satisfied until he gets the proper results.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like what we're dealing. We had because we had so many workshops and people asking about 1RM testing in assessment. And to be honest, we're avoiding this kind of discussion because it's very wide and because, like you said, it's not for everyone. So imagine that client come to you if he's not athlete, and you do first training like a 1RM testing for like a bench press and deadlift or squat. They will not able to walk, or maybe they'll be injured, will not come to you back. That there's no chance. So this is something, like you said, everyone have different approach, but I know having proper assessment and what you develop, what you want to assess, it's very important. So usually what I am focused, we are focused, is related with the moving pattern. So when moving pattern, it's like a proper, we know there is also proper a muscle activation. If moving pattern is wrong, we know there is some kind of compensation. So then we try to fix compensations. What is very typical, for example, for women, a female, usually we have this pronation, valgus position of the knee and pronation of the feet. Why? It's something what is difficult to avoid because the anatomically position of the hips of the woman is different. So this is what is already expected. And you have, okay, I have a female client today it doesn't matter if it's athlete or not, I can expect that. And I will try to fix that in the future. So these kind of things are or what is missing in every assessment, that's my opinion, FMS, MAT assessment, we can mention different. There's everything is related with the pushing position. Everywhere it's a pushing. There's no in either one test where is the pulling position, because in pulling position it's something we're actually protecting our shoulders, our back, core engagement from different angles. So this is the missing part, and we're trying to develop that as well in future. For example.
Okay, that's
another subject.
That's a subject that this can last for ages, man.
Yeah, I know.
So now we got so many tests that we already mentioned and so many approaches that we mentioned. I think that in general there should be a balance. And regarding to your question, what would you assess? You need to find a balance. It's hard. You need to find. It's so hard. So I mentioned Mike Boyle and his philosophy of keep it simple, stupid. It has the point. I mean, everybody, we know so many tests. You can use laboratory tests, you can use TMG, you can use everything for every client, but that's not refundable. That's not. I mean, you're gonna get a valid data, but again, why are you assessing? So my thoughts are don't exaggerate. Find a balance for you. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, you have in Be Strong you have a standardized test. Are you planning to add something? Can you now just let us to what are you dealing exactly step by step? And what is your comment on this, on this Mike Boyle's?
I like Michael Boyle's philosophy a lot, but again, keeping simple to yes. His system, I think, what he's developing, it's amazing for sports and athletes. It's amazing. It's very simple. So many simple movements, unilateral, bilateral, amazing.
But he has a huge crowd of general population.
Yes, who are exercising in the groups. Yeah. So following that, keeping simple for the group, it's perfect. But my opinion, that's personal opinion, having individual and keep it simple to stupid all the time, and that person is paying you or whatever. Like
I knew you were gonna say.
Yes,
that's why I'm trying to pull it from you, because I know you, man.
So
you're
that's
too,
something.
You're too wide for it.
So when person come to you with the specific requirements, and you saw the specific things, you recognize specific moving pattern, and you to fix that or not to fix that or to keep it just to improve. Depends what. Keeping simple, stupid, yes. But not all the time, because if you want, for example, I believe in variations a lot. So remember that standard of progression, regression, but there's also variation. So I like variations because sometimes we need to engage client's brain and not to simplify only one moving part, to give them different angle, different position. You know how many progressions we can have with the tempo, with the weights, with the angles, with the positions. Endless. So this is what I believe. What depends what you want to develop again. So with athletes, I think it's quite simple. You know that very well. What is for them very important. You have a boxers and you have tennis players. You know which movements you need to develop. That's something what you cannot avoid. If they have a lateral movements a lot in the sport, you need to focus on that. You cannot just give them jumping in the box or something like that. So you need to develop specific skills. And for athletes, it's a little bit different method than for general population. So I don't mean you need to do crazy stuff like a bosu ball, overhead squat, this kind of things. But I think variations should be a little bit more present for general population.
In assessment or in programming?
In programming, but assessment is also the similar thing. So which test you will do for example, for tennis players? You will definitely want to test people probably a T test because they have this kind of movement, agility test. But why should they do the test for someone who is sitting in office all day? They don't apply this kind of movements. So going in that direction, also assessment should be different. And you mentioned as well this kind should be different. Yeah, should be different. If that is your question, if you
well, I mean that was my question. Because why I'm already 3 times mentioning Boyle and his, because I know that you kind of like it, but you're not that type of person. That's what I wanted to show to everyone. You can definitely find a balance for yourself.
Yes.
There are different approaches and different paths how to reach the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to encourage everyone to find their own way.
The main question is why. So why you doing that?
Doing stuff, yeah.
If one of my posts, I'm not very, very active in social networks, but I write something what is related about exercise. So there's no right or wrong exercise. It's just, depends what is the goal. So we need to know why you're doing something, where, with who, how. It's the same thing like we're doing in the life. So you need to know why you're doing something, what's the reason behind. If you're just doing it to impress someone else, it will not work, So
we can slowly
mentioning Boyle. It's something, what is really amazing approach, and and something what he's applying.
He has his own story. He believes in it 100%.
Really simple and it's really amazing. I really like this kind of stuff.
It's not simple
only thing
to learn it.
I put in the board I think it's amazing for the athletes and small group trainings this kind of a simple stupid method. But I think when you go to approach an individual person. Yes, everyone wants to be stronger, fitter, but also, some people want to improve something more than something else, and
his approach is definitely food for thought, because the application of the programming he has, it's simple, but getting to know that program and understanding it, you need to learn a lot.
Mentioning assessment, so what you need to know before assessment, anatomy in the first place. You need to know all the muscles, which muscles have a function individually, when they have function together. How they're connecting each other, what's the function of the core? So core is not just for flexion, extension. This is what we said.
That's why everybody's find your own way. Find your own way. I encourage you to find your own way, because through that you're gonna learn more.
Yeah, plank is amazing. Like you said, you can see so many stuff, but
if you know what to look.
Does people the people know how to do right plank? So when I was learning to do the right plank, this was very so I was also thinking before I was 5-6 years ago. Yeah, just stand there, do not move at all. I was okay, and then there was a record of I don't know how many hours standing there.
I think, yeah.
So that's not the plank. So
the marine guy,
plank is a self-activation exercise. So until you start to shaking and to see that you have contraction in the plank, you know that you're doing it in the right way. When you start to shaking and feeling that you're doing self-contraction, that's it. That's the point of the plank, not just to stand there and wait for like a 3, 4, 5 minutes. So again, depends how you're presenting people these kind of things. And this is what we're learning people in our practice. Why we're doing something, they need to focus, like the simple, focus on breathing, focus on, look in the mirror what you're doing if you don't understand what I'm saying, awareness around you. You like these proprioception things and all that, how is this kind of important. So like in assessment, we can approach different kind of angles, if people coming after injury, definitely you not go, for example, for some exercises, for example, in mat assessment, you have like a jumping in one leg. Why I need to check these kind of things? That's more for athletes. So, star excursion test, that's something like amazing, but involving proprioception awareness around you. You can do it with closed eyes, you can do it with open eyes, you can set like 8, 10, 12 coins like around, and you can play with different kind of stuff. It depends what you want to develop.
We did not mention one more thing, and we will slowly close the story for today with that. The value of assessment is important, but what about the reassessment?
Yeah. So that's something what we are forgetting very often, like in our practice. So reassessment, actually, it's not only reassessment of the client, it's a reassessment of the coach.
Of the process.
And the process as well. So these kind of things are like very, very, very important to like apply. Usually what we are doing is like after like 4 to 6 weeks, when we know there's enough adaptation in that process, and when we can see the changes. So that changes related to the different kind of skills, different kind of abilities, even like aesthetically it's possible to already see the change if you're talking about aesthetic things.
Yeah, a lot of online coaches, they like when they follow your pictures and like if you're in a weight loss program, they need that 2 weekly, 3 weekly, monthly update.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a reassessment. So they have a first initial picture, that's their assessment. Okay, I see you, write the program, okay, 4 weeks ahead, reassess.
Exactly.
If you don't have that,
there's no, you don't have then valuable criteria what you're doing. So that's something what is maybe lazy work for coaches, but it's very important one.
I agree.
And living very fast and all that, and being busy with the clients and different things and all that, it's not giving you that opportunity. But again, it depends which way you want. So do you want to have like a 7, 8 clients and to be able to like control them as much as possible, or you want to have like 20 clients and just your assessment will be, okay, let me check how you look like, okay, let's go start immediately.
Yeah.
I'm not judging, I'm not blaming anyone, but again, depends what you want to bring in your practice.
And we mentioned that, but it's a great selling tool. Great selling tool.
Amazing.
Clients react so differently when they see, like, okay, this is you. When you show them, this is you.
Yeah.
It's either in body test or
exactly.
any kind of fitness test. This is you.
Yeah.
And this is you in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, here I am now.
Yeah, exactly. So and following this is like what is amazing about boys programs. It's actually that you can really follow up progression very easily. Through progressions, through like weights, through like positions, through repetitions. Like it's so many different stuff. So, but that's another part about probably designing and.
Listen, we'll definitely meet again. You made my life easier. You talk so that I don't have to.
That's good or bad, it depends.
Yeah, well, I would like to thank you. I hope that we haven't taken a lot of time. The whole idea of this the video is like, let's put the story out, let's see how much it's gonna last, it doesn't matter. I'll reassess how much time we took.
No problem.
So everybody, if you like the video, if you like the things that we're starting to share and do, please subscribe and like my channel on YouTube. Once again, Ivan, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
One of the great things from Be Strong is knowing you and being your friend, and
thank
I'm
you
so
much
grateful for that.
Same for that. Thank you, man. Thank you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.